Hello, hello. It is 4:30 on Thursday, which means it is time for another episode of At the Maker's Table. Today I'll be joined by Mary Jo Hoffman. I am brought to you by iBobs, bold readers, blue light prescription eyewear that help you make 7 statements a week. She just joined. Let's call her in here. All right. I'm wearing my iBobs and I have a feeling that she will be wearing her iBobs too. Here we go. Well, let's try this again. I think you can hear me, Mary Jo, because you tried to pick me and I tried to pick you. This is always the most exciting part. We just sit here and wait. All right. Mary Jo is unable to join. What does that mean? Come on, Instagram. Don't do this to me. All right.
There we
There
go.
you are, beautiful.
Sorry. I think that was my fault.
That's
Pretty
okay.
sure.
Let's talk about those sassy orange glasses you have on.
Yeah, they're iBobs. I just got them last week.
Very good. They're the best.
Yeah, I knew you were going to ask about them, so I went to go find the name of them, and I don't remember, but most people who know me with these.
Yeah.
Which were the Roy D's, which they had. I probably bought these 12 years ago. I don't even know. And I love them.
Yeah.
But they're starting to fall apart, and I'm worried they're going to fall apart. They're really quite old. So I went, and they don't carry these anymore, but I got these instead, and I like them just as much.
I like them a lot.
Yeah. Do you have a preference?
Let's go with the new ones.
All right.
All right.
I told them they needed to bring these back, the Roy D's. I put in a specific request to bring back the orange Roy D's, but
Well,
anyway.
they're watching, so they're hearing again.
Okay, another request. I want the orange Roy D's back.
And
Everybody knows me with those.
Yeah, they do bring them back over kind of the years. So I met her, the founder of iBobs, 20 years ago at Obon Pond in IDS, and we were talking about how she wanted to launch this eyewear company. And I have some of the original ones called Smart Alec, which still is appropriate for me. So.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I learned about them really early on because my husband's uncle's wife was an early salesperson for them. So yeah, these are probably, I don't know, 15 years old or something. So.
Well, everybody's saying they like the new ones too, so we're good. Your new glasses are everything, they said.
Oh, nice. Thank you.
All right.
I love them.
Well, Minnesota Monthly is dedicated to the spirit of Minnesota, and I think that you could do what you do any place in the world, but you do it here.
I do it here.
So tell us kind of how living in Minnesota influences the blog and what you do.
Living in Minnesota influences everything about the blog, really, and living where I live. So I don't know if most people have seen features of my place in magazines, but this is where I live. Can you see that?
Yeah. Yes. Can I come play with you when this is all done and we're vaccinated?
Absolutely. And so the setting here obviously influences everything. Yeah. So the technically still can be done anywhere. And when I conceived it, it had to be doable anywhere because I wanted to be able to travel, and it was going to be daily, and it had to be portable and easy, and I could do from anywhere, and I could. But the truth is, I've been here. I started 9 years ago, and I live here. I spend. Those who know me know my husband and family and I spend a lot of time in southern France, but we live here, and my son's still in high school. And so for 9 years, I've been documenting one photo a day of my backyard, really. I mean, my setting, it really within the 3-mile radius of my home where I walk my dog. So it's incredible. At this point, 9 years is 3,300 and some images. I just calculated the other day because I'm applying for an artist grant. So I did the count.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's 3,000 images of Minnesota over 9 years. It's now an incredible body of work, truly, that documents a place and says more about place. It says some about me, what I choose to see, but says much more about the place in which I live. So.
Well, I always say a maker is anyone who produces something rooted in the passion of what they see around them or the creations they can make. But what do you say? Are you an artist? Are you a photographer? Are you a florist? Are you a stylist? What do you call yourself?
That's such, well, do you have to start with the hardest question, Jared? Seriously.
I have a good definition for you.
Well, let me tell you this. I'm applying for an art fellowship right now. And it's, so anyway, I'm asking myself that right now.
Okay.
And I just showed a draft of my proposal for the fellowship to the administrators for the grant. And they actually said, wow, your work is really cool, but you don't tell us about Target and West Elm. That sounds commercial. This is a fine art grant. Make sure you come off as a fine artist.
Yeah.
So anyways, I call myself still is photography. I call myself an artist now. I use a camera mostly.
Yeah.
But I do collage. I dabble in painting. This last summer, I got really heavily into natural dyeing. I'm making natural inks to paint with.
Wow.
So, I mean, I'm an artist, but still is a photography project. And so photography is my primary tool, but I consider it a tool. I don't like gear. So I don't consider myself a photographer in the sense that I'm tech heavy and I have lighting and I have equipment. I use the camera the same way a painter would use paint. It's the tool for the expression. Is that
everyone says artist, artist, artist. Now here's what I think.
The jurors on my grant proposal.
Get ready for this. Here's what I say you are.
Okay.
I think you're Mother Nature walking among us, and I think you're a documentarian.
Gaia. I'm Gaia.
Yeah.
Documentarian's good. That's good.
My grad degree is in arts administration, and I wrote many a grant for different arts organizations, and so I would be happy to take a look at that as well for you, being the storyteller. I think there's such a heightened reality to your eye that it shows what we're all familiar with, but in a very textural way. And it's clear that you find joy in texture and color, but what do you want people to feel when they look at your pictures?
Oh, that's a good question. Okay, so 9 years is a long time. I've now photographed milkweed 9 times and ferns 9 times and cattails 9 times. What do I want them to feel? Well, the name of the blog is still, the name of the project is still, I want them to have a pause, right? Take a pause, see one thing, look at one thing closely. So I want some serenity, but I also, I do try and do that. I do try and take the ordinary, the thing that some of my more interesting pictures are things literally I pick up in parking lots. Like I remember being at parent pickup with the kids and just picking up a bunch of leaves from the gutter. And I'd liked the way they had started to fall apart, and made a picture with those. And so it's it's cliched, but to see the extraordinary in the ordinary.
Yeah.
So it's that. But I after 9 years, I'm looking constantly for new subjects, and in order to see better, to see past the ordinary, to see the extraordinary, I give myself challenges. So, look for texture. Color is the thing that catches the eye. And I often have to look past color and go for form or go for texture, something, you know what I mean, in order to get past the ordinaries. So, but in color is actually like a challenge. You almost have to not look at it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you'll just do colorful stuff over and over and over. And if anyone who knows me, I do colorful stuff on still, and it is the most popular on Instagram and Pinterest. But I prefer the spare. I'm a minimalist.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, you can tell I'm a minimalist
I love
here.
it, bro.
And you know, this is my house, pretty spare, lots of white walls. So, yeah. So I look for all that color, texture, form, subject matter, timeliness, day. You know, day of the year. I want to be timely.
Yeah.
So if it, you know, if it's spring, I want my images to say spring, and so.
Well, and like you just said, time of the year, and there's so much fragility to your finds that you bring back to photograph. I mean, you know, as with life itself, you never get today back. And so if you saw it, you know to get it, don't you?
It's really interesting. Absolutely. Oh, I've learned so much over 9 years. I mean, I'm actually working on a book proposal right now. And one of the most profound things I've learned is this idea of how ephemeral it is, right? And have you heard of the concept of 72 microseasons?
No, but I want to hear it now.
Oh yeah, it's fascinating. So the Japanese borrowed from the Chinese. The Chinese had 24 seasons in a calendar year. And the Japanese took that and actually refined it further. And we're talking back to like 600. So,
Okay.
you know, we're talking 1500 years ago. They created a seasonal calendar that was it's called 72 microseasons. And I read about it about 2 years ago, and I just, you know, my head exploded because it was so on, it was exactly what I was coming to learn about from having done still, is that, you know, seasons last about 4 or 5 days and then they're gone, right? The apple blossoms come, they're here. The lilacs come 4 or 5 days. Then the first wind or rain, they're gone. You know, the ferns pop up and they start to unfurl. And after 4 or 5 days, they're open. You know, it's so,
Yeah.
it even the birds, you know, we're on the Mississippi Flyway. They migrate through 456 species in Minnesota, but they're here for just a few days. They're, you know, while they're eating to get energy to continue migrating. So everything is just a few days long. And I was learning that on my own by doing still. I mean,
Yeah.
I had come to that conclusion, and then I read about this Japanese calendar and my mind exploded. And first of all, it's Japanese, so it's just beautiful. The names of the seasons are absolutely beautiful. So let me just read you a couple of these names.
Yeah.
If Excel will open here for me. But anyways, that I'm working on a book proposal, and one of the big sections of the book will be called the 72 microseasons of the North. So let me read you some of the Japanese seasons, and I'm going to do the same then for Minnesota.
Yeah.
So just randomly starting out, east wind melts ice, rain moistens the soil, first peach blossoms, sparrows start to nest, wild geese fly north, last frost, rice seedlings grow, bamboo shoots sprout, you know. So the whole year is done in these 4 or 5 day micro seasons. And I'm going to do that for Minnesota because it's the same. The only difference being their spring starts in February and ours starts in March. You know, they have a coastal climate and we have a continental climate. But otherwise, it's remarkably similar. You know, the same things happen here. And, you know, when the sap starts to run, when the first buds explode, when the pussy willows open.
I have pussy
right?
willows back there.
Right? I mean, they just did just a few days ago, right? Then a few days before that, it was the sap and all of the willows turned dark yellow. And each of those things is a few days. So it's 72 microseasons is my new pet focus.
I love it. I love it. I think that too, you know, nature photography has such authenticity and even humanity to it. So when you think about how, even though you say I've shot milkweed 9 times,
Hmm.
it's different every time because everything's changed
Oh, absolutely.
and you've changed.
I've changed. It's never the same. I keep saying that I'm going to keep photographing fiddlehead ferns until I've captured the essence of fiddlehead ferns, which is, probably never. But I haven't captured the essence of fiddlehead ferns yet, I don't feel. Even though I have some nice shots I'm pretty proud of.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I could, it's sort of the beauty of still, you could do it for a lifetime. And I might be the crazy cat lady with 30,000 images instead of 3,000 images. So we'll see.
So be
We'll
it.
see how it evolves. Yeah, we'll see how it evolves. But it has enhanced my life so much that at this point, I can't stop. Like, I don't want to stop.
And I've always loved the name of it because I used to hate that word still, and I am never still. And when someone told me I should meditate, and I said, "Don't you need some stupid mantra?" And they're like, "Yours should just be still, Jared. That's all you need." So I was like, I hated that word, and now I love that word because there
Oh,
is something to the stillness.
yeah. I have, I keep visual journals, and I have for 20 years. And I have the page, the spread in my journal where I brainstormed when I was thinking about doing the blog. And I brainstormed all the ideas before my husband and I settled on still. And some of those names would have been terrible. Oh my God. I mean, it was a stroke of luck that we picked still. It has legs,
It does.
I did trademark it too. So it's mine, at least for what I do. I mean,
Yeah. What role do you think memory kind of plays in your art? Is it recall for you to location? Is it recall to the day you picked it? I mean, do you see those images and remember when and where and the hassle you may have had with it? Or is there memory
absolutely.
recall for you?
Oh God, that's such a good question. You must have done something similar to know that happens.
I,
You must know. Because that's a nuanced question. Absolutely. It's interesting. So 3,000 some images. I do get people, I have people that are, have been following me for years will come across images that are mine, you know, being published somewhere that haven't been attributed to me. And so
yeah.
I call them the still police. They send me it and say, did you get paid for this? Or is this yours? They didn't attribute it. And 99% of the time they're mine. And, but every now and then I look at it and I go, I don't know, is that mine? And then I'll go into my archive and I'll type in, you know, um, you know, uh, Queen Anne's lace, and I'll look at all the Queen Anne's lace I've made, and I was, oh yeah, that's mine. That's mine.
Yeah.
So I don't remember every one of them, but I remember many of them. And I for sure what the recall for me is the it's the well, I remember both. It's where I found it, and then the making of the image. Because I take things, I grab things when I'm out and about, usually walking the dog, but sometimes when I'm running errands. But then I photograph at home, usually on my kitchen floor, because I have skylights in my kitchen.
Love
So
it.
I usually photograph at home. So there's the moment of seeing and of foraging or gathering, and then there's the creation on the kitchen floor. And I actually usually remember both.
I'm just reading someone says, face, how wonderful. Is that you? I enjoy the fastidious ease you work exudes and enjoy them greatly. Very nice. Getting
Awesome.
lots
Thank
of
you.
love here. I I think that recall comes from also I believe that makers and anyone that is a creative offers something sacred. There's something sacred to what you produce. It's a tribute from your soul. And I think you probably have those moments either walking or looking at the images of, damn, did I do that? Or how did I do that? Or you lose all track of time. And, Josie Lewis calls it flow, but whatever it is, there is something very sacred that moves through us.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of flow. I just finished reading the guy who created flow. I can't say his name to save my soul. The guy who
Yeah.
first invented it. But anyways, I just read his second book, and he talks about flow. Deep play. I used to call it deep play. Everybody calls it flow now. And that it's, there's many ways to get to it. Creativity being one, but you can get to it through sports. You can get to it through music, making music, and you can get to it through prayer.
Yeah.
And they all get you to that same place. And I've always felt that this creativity for me was, I would say, a way to get to deep play, but it's what you're saying. It's a way to get to flow, to spirituality, right? Yeah. And everybody's we're all trying to find our path to that because it feels good. It's a good place to live. And yeah, so for me, it's through creativity, but for other people, it's through prayer. Somebody else, it's through running, or somebody else, it's playing the piano. But we're all striving for the same thing. Yeah.
How do you define beauty?
Oh, beauty is interesting. Okay, first of all, I have a lot of opinions about beauty.
Yeah.
I can't define it. It's
it.
I know it for me.
Yes.
And I do. I've actually been reading a lot about beauty, and beauty is cultural. It does change over millennia or whatever, over centuries. Our definition of what's beautiful does change. But we also there's a shared beauty around the world, a shared sense of beauty. We all can look at things and for the most part, people can say this is more beautiful than that. But I do think there's I've written about it on Instagram, and I get a big response whenever I do. I do think there is a beauty deficit disorder going on in the world, but especially in America. I was just driving my mom recently to a doctor's appointment, and in our beautiful wooded, heavily trailed, lots of lakes, little corner of the Twin Cities, they just installed 2 of those light up billboards. Okay, so we've never had billboards here ever. And now we have ones that are the size of giant monstrous TVs. And I just is like, how can we be making these decisions, anyways, beauty deficit disorder. I think we have it. And I could get on a soapbox about the human need for beauty. And I think culturally as Americans, we value efficiency over beauty. And in the long run, we're going to pay for that. I mean, America is a geographically beautiful country, but the man-made part of it we're creating is not beautiful.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think we'd get on the soapbox if we kept going.
Oh, we could. Let's do beauty. But anyways, in terms of still blog, it's harmony, composition, balance, it's those kind of things, that I'm not really conscious of, but those things in terms make what I call a pleasing composition. Beautiful as an eye of the beholder.
And it's also not always what's popping fresh. There's a beauty in decay and decline, and a grace. And I think grace and beauty have to go hand in hand.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, after 9 years of still, I'm really not interested in the perfect peony anymore.
Except for those fiddlehead ferns.
Well, they're perfect. I mean, they're just perfect right? They're in any state. But yeah, it is generally the perfect specimen of something, the perfect maple leaf in fall, the perfect tulip in spring. Not that interesting. I'll do, because it's a daily, because I'm doing this daily, sometimes that's all I have is a perfect tulip to work with. But I'm reaching for whatever I have at hand. But if I have my choice, the tulip that is, started to bend and has dropped one petal, and the stamen is starting to stick out, that's far more interesting to me and beautiful than the perfect upright tulip. So yeah,
I found the most magical place, Blue Sky Flower Farm. She grows, I don't know how many acres she has out in Lakeville. And I went out there last. I mean, it's everything and so seasonal. And like her winter season is the red sticks and the pussy.
Right.
But we should go out there and just
Let's
like,
do it.
and
Let's
it's
do
the
it.
beauty of, we talked about, like, my grandmother always said the peonies, like the ants have to be on the peony to get it to open or whatever.
Right.
And I asked her, and she's like, I don't know. She said, but there's a lot of ants on those peonies every year. But just, it is in that kind of the petals that fall on the ground and the ones
Yeah.
that may get stomped or, I mean,
Yes.
it's just, yeah. Now, do you operate on all senses? Are you a sniffer and a toucher and all that? Or are you past that? Are you a sniffer, Mary Jo?
I'm not a sniffer. That's such a good question. No, I'm not. And now I should be. I mean, when I'm walking my trails, I'll stop and say, oh, what was that? I will smell something. And there's a couple smells I smell every year at certain times. I still haven't identified what's producing them. I'm actually, now that you think about it, I'm not very well informed about my sense in terms of what's going on. Obviously, except for the obvious ones, like lilac and stuff, and honeysuckle, and that kind of stuff. But no, I need to get educated. I'm pretty well educated now about my bioregion, the names of things and when they bloom. But if I walked with my eyes closed, no. Interesting. Balsam, yeah, I mean, certain things, but not like I should be. That's really great. That's a new challenge.
And touch. Like, do you ever clip something or used to it, 9 years ago and think like, damn, why is it so sticky? Or like, it has to happen, doesn't it?
Oh yeah. Touch came early and because you'd get home and you'd, take a snippet of a milkweed and you get home and you get that latex, that milk.
Yeah.
Latex all over your fingers and you're not going to get it off for, a day. So, yeah, touch was an education early on. So that doesn't catch me by surprise anymore. I don't like to walk encumbered when I walk the dog. I have his leash and that's enough. I don't walk with my camera. Every now and then, if I see something that I really would feel bad taking, because it's precious or whatever, I will go home, get my camera and go back and photograph it. So that I don't have to pull it up or disturb it. That happens once in a while, but mostly it's just more comfortable to shoot at home. But yeah, I don't, I walk often with a best friend and she laughs at me because I don't walk with the snips. I don't walk with leather gloves. I don't even walk with something to carry my things. So I end up, snapping and carrying and the dog and it's just like,
see, I had this vision of you in a linen apron and a big basket and a big straw hat. That's how I thought you must be out there clipping.
Oh yeah. Well, I actually have several antique like gathering baskets. Wicker. Oh yeah. And a matter of fact, I have a Swedish one. I have one from England. I have one from France. They're beautiful wicker. And every now and then, like if it's high summer when everything's blooming, I will bring a basket because I know I'm going to gather a lot. But yeah, no, normally I actually don't like to be encumbered when I walk. It's really hot. So I don't want like a backpack or, so no, it's not quite that romantic. It's usually me with, just the dog and the leash and the things.
I used to do these mixology classes and the guy was telling us when they gather the elderflower to make that liqueur.
Yeah.
It's gathered they have to ride these bikes up into the mountains and they put them in their bike baskets between layers of linen and cheesecloth so the flowers don't bruise the blossoms. And I always thought, like, it must be such a beautiful process. And that's such a fragrant liqueur.
That's so interesting to put it between layers of cloth and roll it. Now, I could do that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's sort of brilliant.
Yeah.
That's
I used to have a really good article. I'll try to find it about.
Yeah.
And it's just like a period, like just a few days that they can go get them.
A few days.
Before it rains and they fall and all that. Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you prefer, control or chaos?
Oh, control.
Lines or circles?
Circles.
Favorite season?
late, what? Oh, that's a
Oh,
hard one.
favorite child? It's about that hard of a
Yeah,
question.
you just asked favorite. It's not high summer, and
Okay.
it's not dead of winter. It's late fall or spring, and it's. I think I have to say spring because in Minnesota, fall is beautiful. My favorite time to photograph is late fall.
Okay.
But spring, it just means winter's around the corner. And so you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I have to go with spring, even though the spring in the north here is, we're totally gypped. We get 3 full months of summer and 3 full months of fall. And we have 5 months of winter and it gets stolen from spring. Our spring is, some years we get 2 good, nice months. This year we might, but a lot of times it's all squished into about 5 weeks.
Someone asked your favorite micro season.
Oh, gosh, that's a really great question. My husband's is when the white-throated sparrows return,
Okay.
which is late spring. They migrate through, and he absolutely loves it. My favorite micro season is maybe, oh, such a good question. Maybe apple blossoms, which is,
Okay.
we have crab apples and tons of them we do around here, all of us. And I think that might be my favorite. That's late spring.
Have you ever looked at wild birds flying? Do you know Stacy?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that photography is beautiful and how they capture those birds. And
Yeah.
they have some beautiful sparrow pictures. But that same thing where they have to be out there when they grab them, count them, and
Right.
release them to get
Right.
those photographs.
Right.
Yeah. It all
Yeah.
goes back to you can't get back today. I mean, whether
Right.
it's life or nature, you just can't get it back.
Right.
What advice would you give someone who wants to start something, anything, being a maker, being a blogger? What advice would you give them?
Um, yeah, if they uh make it set it up so that it's easy and not complicated, right?
Yeah.
So whatever it is, but make sure it's easy. So because if it's easy, you'll keep doing it, and if it gets hard or complicated, you'll do it for 6 weeks or 6 months and you'll quit.
Yeah.
So keep it simple. I mean, everybody, we all know there's creativity and constraints. So constrain it, whatever it is, a blog or whatever, so that it's small and manageable and simple, but it forces creativity. And then because it's small and manageable, you'll continue to do it. And that's what would be my advice. Just keep it simple.
And I think when it becomes just a practice, it's still creative, but it's just this is my day to, this is my time of day to do it. You just know it's so routine and part of who you are.
Right,
It's
right.
in you. All right, so you kind of showed us out the window. Let's talk a little bit about studio. I know you shoot on your kitchen, but I don't say this to many ladies, but show me your drawers, Mary Jo.
You know what?
Are you
You
away from
joked it.
them?
You made a joke in my. I will show you my drawers. You made a joke in my when I posted my flat files yesterday. You made a joke on Instagram, and so I thought you might ask to see my drawers.
Yeah,
And and you would think I knew we were doing this. It was scheduled, and you would think I would have cleaned up the studio for you, but I didn't. I
even
didn't
better.
because I was at my mom's. So let's go downstairs.
All right.
And my studio is down. Well, studio, you'll see. I'm going to show you my studio right now as it is, not cleaned up,
I
and then I'll
love
show
it.
you my drawers. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So my daughter is creative as well, and so here's my current studio. Can you guys see that? Look at the
Yes.
floor. Look at my daughter's painting. Oops.
Nice.
I'm having a hard time with seeing through the camera while I hold it.
It's great.
So that's it. So here is, can you guys see this? I can't see when I'm holding the camera.
I see a lot of stuff on the floor. Oh, yeah. Look at that.
So that is, wait, I'm sorry about this. Let me hold it up higher. There we go. That's all on the floor. So this is, you can see it's not cleaned up. That's my basement. That's what it looks like. Oh, I thought here. Sorry about this, guys. I'm not good at the iPhone. Those are my journals. I told you I journal.
Beautiful. Yeah.
And I've done one or two a year for 20 years. So those are there. And then there's my drawers over in the corner here. Let's see. Wait, I can't figure it out with the camera. There's my drawers.
I
See the
love
drawers? We're
I
gonna go
see
over
them.
there.
Have whatever you want. But tell me this. Have you ever had like brought something in and got mites or bugs or something all over your place? Like I remember once I took a bird nest in the house and we had mites and my mother went crazy.
Yeah, I might have. I might have. It doesn't bother me a lot. They eventually go away, but
Yeah.
not as much as you'd think. I do leave a lot of stuff in the garage until it's dry.
Okay.
And then it comes in the house, but not as much as you think. So we live, you can't see here because the exposure is right, but in the woods, and in the summer, fall, winter, spring, summer, winter, or fall, we leave the doors, both the front door and the back door, wide open, so the dog can come in and out of the house. And so the bugs come in anyway. So I'm not bug phobic. So here are my drawers. I'm going to open my drawers.
Yes. Show me your drawers.
Here, I'm going to turn this. Is there a way I can
think you
turn
can
it?
flip it. I don't want to. Yeah.
Oh,
Hey, there you go.
Oh God, that's so much easier. Okay. So here's my drawers. And I know we are going to get questions because I do whenever I post them on Instagram. See, it's a big flat file.
Yeah.
I bought them on Craigslist, and they were army green, and they were inside. They were marked Department of Transportation.
Okay.
And I paid. I think there's two of them there stacked, and I paid like $60 a piece. And then I spray painted them white with just white Krylon paint. So
beautiful.
I know I was going to get asked, so that's that. So here's the drawers. Matter of fact, let me turn off this light because I'm going to get better natural light than with that light on. Okay, here we go. But this is just some of the stuff. It's kind of embarrassing.
No, I love it.
So this is just what I call delicate bits. When I do my little compositions, I want little bits and bobbles.
Yeah.
So that's that drawer. It's picked over. I was using them. Let's see what's in this drawer. Okay, so I'm a huge fan of seed pods. And are you there?
I think you might be covering the microphone. I think you're covering the microphone maybe with your hand.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
I was. Okay, and there's some dead bugs.
Nice.
And like those like are the ones that you pick off the front of your car grate, whatever.
Yeah.
Anyways, some dead bugs. Let's see what's here. Oh, people like this one. It's dried flowers.
Yeah.
A little picked over right now. And these don't last forever, right? They get more and more and more faded. So, yeah. That's that one. And I don't know what we're going to find down below that. Oh, leaves. Fall leaves.
Now, how long do they live in the drawers? How long before you purge, or do you know when it's time to say goodbye?
I've only had these drawers of probably 3, 4, 5 years.
Okay.
I haven't done a purge, but these flowers are getting faded now.
Yeah. And
I probably should. And I haven't yet, but I think I will. So this is what, this is organized. This is very organized and pretty, and looks really great. But here's what it normally looks like is this, it's just a pile on my floor. So, that's then my natural dyeing over there. So when I boil down some of those botanicals, I can make inks, and those are some of the colors of the inks I've made.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. So anyways, that's the process. It's usually messy like this. And then every now and then I get very organized and put stuff in the drawers.
I love it.
Yeah.
You know what we can get from Blue Sky? She grows heirloom glass corn. Have you ever seen that?
No.
It's like translucent baby blue and greens corn.
Interesting.
It's
Oh,
stunning. Yeah. You
oh,
would love that.
we have a field trip to do.
We do have a field trip.
Here's my like here's the floor of my my dining room, which is kind of an entryway now. I mean, you can see it's just piled up on the floor. Like it's time for me to do some cleaning. Like here's the front door.
Now, how do you prevent Jack from just nesting down in that?
He doesn't. He's not interested. It's been 9 years. He's over it.
Is he around there today?
My daughter took him out for a walk because he would have been making noise. Here's the top of the piano, which is, I got a commission to do a composition with shells.
Yeah.
For a jigsaw puzzle maker in Hawaii.
Oh, beautiful.
So I have all my shells out and I'm, sorting them by color.
So let's talk about products. What can people buy of you? Yours puzzles would be perfect. But what else can they buy? Prints, or how can they have a little piece of Mary Jo?
So I have started making prints. Well, I don't make prints. I don't like printing. But I partnered with a local printer, Carl Herber. He's the same guy that does the printing for wild birds.
Yeah.
Same. So he prints their work. He prints my work. So I tried selling prints. I found keeping printers working tedious, and I found fulfillment, shipping tedious. And honestly, if I'm going to make a new image a day, I don't have a lot of time for that. So anyways, Carl approached me. I gave him my whole portfolio on a hard drive. And so when I get print requests, I just tell people, email me, and then I forward them on to Carl. And then he prints and he does fulfillment. And so I don't do anything with it. And so buried in his price is the part that goes to me.
Okay.
So that's for prints. I do sell. I work with a lot of commercial designers, quite a lot, and they want the high-res digital files, and then I just do that myself.
Yeah. Have you ever worked with murals your way out in Hopkins?
Oh, so interesting. You should say that. Yes, I have. I just did a mural. It's on my Instagram. Did you see it?
No, but I'm going to go look for it. I could have had that behind me every time.
What's that?
I could have had that behind me instead of these wood piles.
Yeah, well, I just a friend of mine just renovated a house, and where did I put her Instagram? Well, I'm going to show you the image I did, and I'm going to show you. So that's oh wait, it's easier than that. Okay, that's the image we turned into a 9-foot mural.
Nice.
In her entryway, but she sent me photos of it being installed, and I'm not finding them real quick here. I thought I had them up here, but anyway, oops. I'm watching. Sorry about that. Sorry, guys.
That's okay.
Anyway, she just did that, and it's on my Instagram. Oh, you know what? I put it on stories, and so it's gone. I will
share it again because you've got people asking about it.
Okay, let me I'm going to try and pull it up right now while you guys were with me, because it looks really cool, and I haven't gone to photograph it because it's COVID, and although I did get the shot, so I could go photograph it now. And yeah, anyway, I'll look for it while we talk here.
Okay. Tell me this. If you could go take a walk anywhere to forage, where would you go?
In Minnesota?
Anywhere in the world.
Oh, super interesting question. To forage. I've never been asked that. Well, I can't answer that. Would I go to a rainforest? I've never been to a rainforest, right? Would I go? So my husband and I, kids, we go to southern France a lot, and that southern France is, I don't think people realize that the Mediterranean coast, so Spain, France, and Italy, is almost identical geographically, in terms of geology, to Southern California.
Okay.
And so the flora and fauna of Southern California, and there's sort of a mild desert, arid conditions and some similar weather. So I love foraging there, partly because it's just so damn comfortable. Like the weather is perfect. You're not hot. A lot of times in July in Minnesota, like August, it's sticky.
It's
It's
awfully sticky.
it's
Yeah.
sticky, right? Like I'm sticky, and so anyway, where would I go forage? I'm bouncing all over mountains, rainforest. I want to go to Japan very badly, but I might say no. I got it. Australia.
Okay.
Oh, Australia. Everything is weird there, right? I mean,
Eucalyptus.
I love eucalyptus, but they have that in California.
Yeah.
But like the seed pod, I mean, it's, like just like their mammals are all weird, their kangaroos and wallabies and all that.
Yeah.
Their flora is weird too. I mean, it's been isolated for millions of years. And so it's completely different from here. Australia,
Okay.
bar none, for sure.
You're a beekeeper, right?
Yes.
Okay. Honey. I love honey from all over the world. Have you ever had eucalyptus honey from Australia or eucalyptus honey?
Oh,
It is
no.
crazy. Like when you open the honey pot, you
Hmm.
smell that eucalyptus.
Oh,
It
I
kind of
would
tingles.
love that.
It's amazing.
Yeah, that sounds good. I'll seek it out.
Yeah. All right. So if you could take anyone with you on a forage walk, who would it be? Famous, living, not living, just somebody to walk side by side with.
E.O. Wilson. Do you know him?
I think so. Tell me more.
He's probably the most famous biologist in
Yeah.
America. Yeah, and he's
Yeah.
the guy who said, I think he worked at Harvard. His thing was ants. His research was in ants,
Okay.
which is fascinating. Which is like bees because of the way they cooperate in terms of colonies. But he's the guy who coined the expression, which I just think is really funny. He was asked one time if he believed in God or something, and he said, what he thought of God, and he said, well, God must have been very fond of beetles because there's so many of them. It's like, man is nothing because there are about 20,000 times more beetles than there are, Homo sapiens. So,
Yeah.
I just thought it was a funny way of saying, how he felt about God. So
That would be
anyway,
a good walk.
and he's a really famous naturalist. I listened to every podcast he was pre-podcast, so he's older. Did he pass away recently? I forget. He's quite old. I think he passed away. Anyways, all his interviews I listened to, and to forage with someone, he would be awesome. Or
Yeah.
Oh gosh, why wouldn't I say Darwin, right?
That would be a good one.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh, that would be a
Darwin.
good one.
Yeah, I have to take it back and say Darwin. Yeah, I wasn't thinking big enough.
Somebody said that you should lead nature walks.
I might. Thank you. I might actually. Yeah. My husband and I have been going back and forth to France, and so I've been busy, but I'm feeling, I think COVID helped with the big pause. I'm
Yeah.
feeling more like I could take on additional, you know what I mean, that I have a little bit more bandwidth, a little bit more margin.
Do you miss aerospace engineering at all?
Yes. I tell you what I miss.
Tell me.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't remember, I was an aerospace engineer for 17 years or something. And before I quit, and then became an artist. And I loved what I did, absolutely loved what I did. But two things happened that made me quit. One, we had trouble having our second child. So it was a fertility issue. And then, which had a happy ending. And then the fertility doc said, we've tried everything. Maybe you should quit your job. And I swear to God, I quit my job, and 3 months later, it worked. So she was right. But the second thing that happened is that Honeywell got acquired. I worked for Honeywell Research, aerospace research. And anyways, Honeywell got acquired by a company I didn't respect. And so at some point I couldn't work for the company that bought us. So, the decision to leave was easy because of that, but I miss the guys I worked with, and it was almost all guys, 95% guys. I miss them almost every day. What I miss is being being an artist is solitary work. Mm-hmm. It's solo work. I enjoy it. I'm an ambivert, so I'm in between introvert and extrovert. Those who know me well would say I'm an extrovert, and it's probably true, but I do like my alone time. But I miss being part of a team of really bright people. That's what I miss. So if anybody wants, has a project, wants a team member, I miss that a lot. I'm raising my hand. I miss being a part of a small team of people trying to solve a problem. And that just the energy, the electricity that happens when you do that, because being an artist is just a little too solitary.
I would be on your team any day.
Let's form a team. Let's solve some project.
I love it. Yeah. I used to have this gig where I would go to Ohio to this place called Eureka Ranch, and I would be like the right brain at a table of like actuaries, and and they would call me like fancy pants and stuff like that. But it was an interesting gig for a couple of years. But there is something about that creative and that right brain that can tackle all sorts of things. So I'm sure you were wonderful at your job and a team player. So
well, I was in research, and it's interesting because engineers have a reputation, and they deserve it. As being super logical and left brain. But I was in research. I had a master's degree. Almost everybody I work with had PhD, and I have to say they were all creative. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So it's a different type of person that goes into research, that goes into sort of manufacturing or quality control or that kind of thing. So my office mates, they would literally teach themselves violin for fun. It was that kind of crowd.
In a weekend.
Yeah, seriously, and so it was, they were creatives. They both, the right brain, left brain with science and the arts has been, that's well understood, that the mathematics and creativity and stuff. So I fit in. I did not stand out there at all, actually.
What do you say to people that say I'm not creative?
Baloney. No, right.
BS.
I think everybody is born creative, absolutely born creative, no doubt in my mind. But yeah, I do have compassion for people for whom that has become extinguished as they got older. And it's there. It can be uncovered. It can be recovered. It's there if they want it.
I think that's the beauty of the maker revolution, where people are not only doing what they did on their dining room table after the kids are in bed, they're making a living doing it now.
Right.
And we talked about last week, I had the ladies from Fair Play Projects, and they're great projects for kids or kidults or whatever. But I said so often that creativity is extinguished by one voice. It's somebody that says like, boys don't do that, or that's not singing, or you call that dancing, and right. It just, I think when you find that later in adulthood, it can be even more rewarding, I guess. But those that it's encouraged, even how you've raised your children, I'm sure, now your daughter's painting, and probably painted all along, but refined it and practiced and
right. Yeah. I think absolutely everyone's creative for sure. But I've also, experienced enough people for whom the process of recovering that has meant clearing a lot of baggage, usually, family baggage, but it's there. You can get it. You can get it back.
It's sadly often that voice that questioned what was creative.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Wow.
So,
did you find that picture?
No, I'm no, not yet. And it's the craziest thing. Wait, I got one more place. I'm gonna find it. Um,
So you're working on grants, you're working on books, puzzles. What's your big dream? What do you see?
um, what's my big dream? Oh gosh, that's a good question. That's my big dream. So yeah, I'm working on a book proposal. I'm actually really excited about it. I'm doing a grant proposal. I'm very excited about that too. I'm 56 years old, and so I got a kid in. Got one more year. I got my youngest has one more year of high school, and so I'm starting. My husband and I are starting to think about that. Retirement, right? We're not there yet, but so that gets into dreams, right?
Yeah.
Like so. My dream would be a stone house on the Mediterranean with it's very specific. You want to hear the
I
specific
do. I
dream?
can't
All
wait.
right, it's very specific. It's a stone house, it's called a mas in southern France, an old farmhouse.
Okay.
And it would have two wings that we'd probably have to add. One would be my husband's. He's a writer.
Yeah.
And it would be his studio, and then the other side would be mine. And in the middle would be a terrace with an olive tree, and then a French, herb garden, and French doors on from those, and then and it would have views of the Mediterranean. It doesn't have to be on it, but it would have Mediterranean views. And then, so I'd have the studio, and it would have to have, at probably two walls, but at least one north facing wall of windows. It has to have the soft north facing light.
Okay.
And I would do more of what I do now, but I would want it to be more, what's the word? Like, I would want to have collaborations which would push me creatively, larger scale, that kind of thing. Sort of push me artistically and creatively and start pushing my work larger scale instead of working on my kitchen floor.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense.
So that's what
And I
I'm doing.
think
And
it
I
sounds
am
like
going
the
to be
perfect.
dressed in linen with a hat. And
I love it.
And then I'm going to have the wicker basket. Yeah.
I love it.
And I'm going to drive a little, Citroen or Renault to the market. Yeah, you got it.
And you go to the market every day.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I will every other day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. How
So
did
that's what I want. That's the dream.
You mentioned COVID being a pause, but did you do anything crazy? Like, did it change your work? Did you start baking bread? Did you do anything just out of the norm?
Well, it's interesting you should say that, because I was just reminiscing in my own head about the year. And I thought, this was a great big pause, because normally we travel a lot. My husband is a food writer, so we have a lot of food related events to attend, which all stopped, right? Travel stopped, food gathering stopped, restaurants stopped. And I said, I was thinking to myself the other day, this was a great big pause and you didn't do much with it. And then I thought, oh, but you actually, I just did a super deep dive last year into making natural inks.
I love
and
it. Yeah.
I was concocting and steeping and simmering and reducing. And I was, every day, multiple burners were going with me trying to make different kinds of ink. So I actually did do that. And it was a lot of fun. That was last summer, because it's a messy to do. And I did it in the garage where I could rinse off with the hose and stuff. But other than that, no, my daughter was in college last year when COVID hit, and she was actually in college in, she graduated in June, but she was at Stanford, where it was like the second place it broke out. COVID broke out in Seattle and then Stanford campus. So they got kicked off campus in a hurry, and she and her boyfriend ended up here in March, a year ago, last week probably. And so they live, she's still here. He just went back to California because he had a job waiting, but and she's going to join him in a month. But so we had both of them here for the whole year, which was a gift from the universe. to have your, and one extra year with your child before she starts her new life in California, and then a whole year with the long-term boyfriend, to get to know him. So it was really a gift, but we have a not so big house, and I mean, it kind of looks airy because of the big vaulted ceilings, but it's actually 1,600 square feet. And so there were 5 of us on laptops and computers tripping over each other's cords for a year. So there wasn't a lot of extra margin there,
Yeah.
And we were really, really, really COVID cautious at our house. And so we were doing curbside pickup for groceries and just keeping 5 people, adults, fed, so, and the dishes. So anyway, we didn't do that, but I did do I got into natural inks and did a deep dive into that last summer. But otherwise I was just enjoying the company of having my daughter and her boyfriend here.
I love it. I love it. All right, any luck with that picture?
No, I don't.
Just put it back on stories, and we can just remind them this is what we were looking for.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to find it to put it on stories. So it's just this. I'm usually can find everything, and I must not rename the file when she's. Oh, I have an idea. I know how I can find it.
You keep looking at it. I'm going to tell you because I could talk to you all night, but do you realize we've been talking for over an hour?
Oh God, no way. No way.
This is the longest one I've ever done.
Oh,
but
that's
we have a lot of
funny.
people that have stuck with us.
I told, and I texted, for those of you who are still listening, oh my God, thank you. And I apologize for rambling, but I texted Jared right before we started and I said, I'm scared. I haven't talked to anyone in a year.
When we talked earlier, you said, it's a half hour, right? And I said, yeah. And then I hung up and we were driving back home. And I thought to myself, yeah, it's a half hour. Sometimes they go to 40 minutes. And I was worried thinking like you were thinking I've got something at 5 or whatever. But heck, it's 5:32 now.
No, so I just wanted you to say, no, it's 15 minutes. I feel better. No, it's hilarious. No. Yeah, no, I'm not finding it. Anyway, I apologize for taking up everybody's hour. That's hilarious.
They said it's been delightful. We've had lots of good comments. I appreciate that. I'm glad to know that you guys have stuck with us. And they'll post this online at the Maker's Table, and you'll get a link to it too. But I just want to say thank you. It has been a pleasure to spend this time with you.
I love it. And let's get that field trip to that farm in Woodville scheduled.
Yeah,
I get my second shot in 2 weeks, and then after 2 weeks after that, I'm good to travel.
Good. All right, so I'm going to leave you with final thoughts from Proust, which I think you would enjoy.
Perfect, I love it.
My husband is Greek, but he has a degree in French, so he turned me on to Proust. So this is it. So let us be grateful to the people who make us happy. They are the charming gardeners who make our souls blossom.
Awesome.
So thank you for letting our souls blossom with your beautiful photography and just everything.
I love it. That's a beautiful quote, and you're welcome. And I love what I do, and I love our Minnesota community.
Good.
Bye, everybody.
I'm going to close this out, but thank you for your time, and I'll tell people where to follow you and all that.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, take care.
Bye-bye.
Thank you all for tuning in. You can follow us at MinmoMag, at Mary Jo Hoffman, at Mr. Jared Scott. The digital edition of Minnesota Monthly is available online. GrillFest tickets are available. And a thank you to iBobs. May your life be every bit as interesting as your eyewear. Until I see you next week, be safe, make something, and get outside. Cheers. Thank you. Bye-bye.